So I have been lucky enough to have been gifted a subscription to MASSOLIT, an online platform designed to help GCSE and A Level students out with a whole bunch of subjects, including of course English literature. But just how brilliant is MASSOLIT? Let's find out. Alright, how's it going, Revision Squad? It is me, Liam, aka Mr. Knight, aka DystopiaJunkie, and in this video I will be reviewing the service offered by the platform MASSOLIT. Now, a super quick disclaimer right at the start of the video. MASSOLIT gifted me a subscription to their service in exchange for a completely honest review of it. So as much as this is sort of promotional material for them, I'm not going to fib about what I think about it. Honesty is, after all, the best policy. But what is MASSOLIT? Well, it is an online platform that works with university academics to produce short video lectures that are suitable for GCSE and A-level students' revision, and also for teachers of those subjects who are looking to refresh their subject knowledge. At present, MASSOLIT has more than 3,000 short video lectures across 7 different subjects, which are English literature, history, philosophy, classics and ancient history, sociology, psychology, and government and politics. Now, as such, that makes MASSOLIT an absolute treasure trove of knowledge for the arts, humanities, and social science subjects that you are likely to be encountering at school, college, or sixth form. What does it actually look like to use MASSOLIT, and how does the platform work? Well, it might look something a little like this. As you can see, I'm here on kind of like the home screen for a MASSOLIT user. I will say now, my home screen might look slightly different to one that you might have, because I've got a reviewer account rather than like a student account, for instance. Anyway, you can see here at the top we've got various little toolbars, I guess. So courses, playlists, my tools, a search bar, my account logout, sort of, you know, pretty standard stuff. We click on courses though, we can see there's loads, there's absolutely loads of courses here in the subjects that I mentioned just earlier. I'm going to click on English literature because that is, you know, clearly the subject I am most interested in. So click on the English lit sort of link there. And we can see already, sort of scrolling down, there's loads and loads of courses on English literature. There are in fact how many pages worth of courses? 15 pages worth of courses, which is absolutely loads. Now I'm going to click on the first course that appears for various reasons, which I'll cover in a moment. Here it is, and it is Orwell and Animal Farm by Dr. Nathan Waddell of the University of Birmingham. Nathan is actually my lead supervisor for my PhD, so hence why maybe I'm slightly biased in selecting his course, but it was also the first one that appeared, so, you know, not totally biased at least. We can see then scrolling down that there is a little blurb about the course, so it explains what Dr. Waddell or what Nathan does in the course overall. There is then a little bio about Nathan on the About This Lecturer tab, and then there's a space for me to take notes as well. So there's a brilliant notes function on MASSOLIT where, as you're watching a video, if you want to make a note of, say, you know, I don't know, I'll give myself a timestamp, don't hold shift, Liam, so maybe at 31 seconds, Nathan says, and he says something, I don't know, just really interesting. I could use that as a quick sort of place to take notes and keep a note of quotations or things or ideas that he is saying that I'm going to find useful for my own studies. Now, as you can see here, this first video is only 45 seconds long. That's because it's kind of like a little teaser for the series at large. But as we sort of look down on the right hand side here, there are 7 lectures, 7 mini lectures overall, ranging between, what, about 8 and 14 minutes long, so they're not massively long. They're the sort of thing that, you know, you can watch maybe one of them and then make some notes and then, I don't know, chill out for a bit, or you might watch it whilst you're waiting for your tea, or whilst you're, I don't know, waiting to get a lift or something like that. So actually quite quick and easy and very accessible to use, which I think is fantastic. I'm going to go back to English literature quickly. So you see there's loads of other courses as well, on Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest, The Duchess of Malfi, Huckleberry Finn, A Christmas Carol, brilliant book of course. But what I want to point out now actually is this little filter sort of tab on the left hand side. And as you can probably guess, these are actually based on different exam boards and also different course levels. So they've got A Level and GCSE sort of courses within there. I'm going to quickly click on here, WJEC, Educast, GCSE, English Literature, Shakespeare, because why not? And you can see there, under that sort of filter, it's got several sub-filters still. So a filter for Macbeth, Much Ado, Othello, Romeo and Juliet, and Merchant of Venice, which is actually one of my favourites. But I'm going to click on Romeo and Juliet because I'm currently working on that for my own sort of series here on YouTube. So you can click that button. And as you can see straight away, it's actually filtered down to all of the Romeo and Juliet courses that MASSOLIT offer. So there's one from Professor John Rowe, one from Professor Helen Smith, and one from Professor John Leonard. That is going to save you so much time rather than having to, search through or manually type and look through those 15 odd pages of courses. You can just find them straight away, the courses that are relevant to you and your exam specification, and basically the things that you need to know. You can sort of get rid of all the stuff that you don't need to know just yet as a priority. Now I imagine the same is true of the other sort of subjects as well. I'm sure history has a similar feature for sort of filtering out things based on exam spec. But I want to quickly look at this playlist function. You can see here there's MASSOLIT playlists, my own playlists, and so on. So I'm going to click that top one on MASSOLIT playlist and just see what comes up really. And as you can see, what they've done here is that they've grouped together the different courses that are relevant to maybe different texts or key ideas. So here, for instance, the Tudors, clearly an important historical topic for sort of GCSE and A Level students at least. And that playlist brings together 16 courses on the Tudors. So 16 courses, 102 videos, and almost 16 hours of content. That is unreal. That is a massive playlist. I'm going to click on it quickly out of curiosity. But you can see there, it's very, very, very comprehensive. Now, I wouldn't recommend sitting there and watching all 16 hours in one go because your brain will die. But certainly, say you're studying the Tudors as like a part of your history, GCSE or A Level, you might be studying that over like a term, so maybe like 6 to 12 weeks or whatever. If it's 16 hours over 12 weeks, that's only an hour and a half each week. That's a film basically each week. And I'm sure if you're anything like me, you're probably watching at least one film, if not loads more each week, probably binging Netflix or something similar. Other streaming services are available, of course. So that is the playlist sort of feature. My playlists, I've not made any personally, so there's no point clicking on that, but I will assume that you can clearly sort of make your own playlist and put videos or courses into that, again to save yourself time. Maybe there's some specific ideas that you're really interested in that are going to help you with your studies. Make your own playlist, easy peasy. My tools as well, there's my classes, join the class, my tasks and my notes. MASSOLIT has a brilliant feature whereby your teachers can, if they have a school subscription for this, can put you in a class. They can give each class different tasks. So it might be to watch certain courses and to make notes on those. Join a class, clearly it's how you're going to join one of those classes. My tasks is where you're going to find your homework basically. And my notes is going to be where you can, maybe you make notes on, I don't know, sort of the 5th video here on Dr. Sean Cunningham's Tudors series. But then, a few weeks later you forget where exactly you've put it. On my notes, you're then going to be able to find where exactly it was that you've made your own notes. So that way you don't lose them, which is, pretty important if you're going to be making some notes. So that's sort of a super quick overview of what MASSOLIT actually looks like, sort of the interface. I think it's pretty accessible, it's pretty easy to navigate, and it's got lots of functionality to help you find what you want to find, basically. But what is it actually like to use a MASSOLIT course? What's it like to actually watch some of the lectures that they have up on their website? Well, that's something I'm going to experiment with now, and it's something you're going to be seeing as well as I make a super duper quick time lapse. Alright, blimey, so I've just watched quite a few of the different courses and short lectures available over on MASSOLIT, mostly in the English literature sort of area of the website. I've made a few sort of notes and comments on some paper basically as I was watching that, just to go over some sort of real strengths of MASSOLIT that I saw, and maybe some sort of observations that I've made as well, of things I think you might want to be made aware of in addition to those real strengths too. So firstly, the biggest strength for me straight away was that watching these MASSOLIT, they call them lectures, but they're not really like lectures. They're more like having a chat with a really clever person. Yes, these lectures are academic, but they are accessible. They're more informal and relaxed in atmosphere. It's not like you've got some hoity-toity professor stood up there doing some big speech. It's actually way more sort of chilled in vibe, really. I think the courses, secondly, are really well structured. At the start of each course, you're sort of told the topic of each lecture, then you have the lecture, and then the next lecture actually recaps the ones before it. So there's like really good cohesion there. It means that if you haven't binge watched the entire series in one go, you're still gonna have a pretty good idea of sort of where you left off at. It also means you don't necessarily have to watch every single lecture in a series as well. If you want to pick and choose, you're not going to be totally lost. I'd still recommend watching them all, but if you can't, you won't be totally lost. The third sort of massive strength I've put down in my notes is that there is basically a university vibe to the lectures themselves. These are big ideas from legitimate world experts, and I just think that's amazing. Like that is so massively valuable. Now, two sort of other observations I will make though is that there are only occasionally the use of slides or additional images, which does mean that sometimes it can be a bit tricky to keep up, especially if like your concentration isn't all that great. You might hop onto your phone for a moment or something. Despite that though, obviously with it being a video, the beauty of that is that you can pause, you can rewind. So if you're struggling to keep up, or you've missed a comment, or you're making notes and you want to hear something over again just to make sure you've got your notes or your quotations absolutely spot on, you can go and do that. You can pause and rewind. My final observation is kind of related to the last strength that I mentioned as well, which is to do with the fact that MASSOLIT videos cover the big ideas. Now, as a consequence, it means that small specific quotations are only sometimes discussed and only sometimes have their language analysed. So if you're just after quotations and sort of what they mean and what techniques they use, you might want to look elsewhere. However, if you want those big ideas, you want plenty of context. There is loads of context in these videos, which is unreal. And actually, you want a deep understanding of writers' craft, so how and why writers are doing certain things, and you're ready to put in a bit of work, then MASSOLIT is totally for you, and I cannot more strongly recommend it. So just how good is MASSOLIT? Well, to be honest with you, I think it is absolutely brilliant. To have access to genuine world experts and their insights on the texts and topics that you'll be covering in your GCSEs and A Levels is going to be something that is going to radically transform your understanding of those things, and I hope radically transform your grades as well. Certainly, I wish that MASSOLIT was around when I was doing my GCSEs and my A Levels, because I would have used it loads and probably have benefited massively as well. Now, a year's personal subscription to MASSOLIT costs £89 for one subject, so say all of their English literature content. It costs £109 for two subjects, so say all of English Lit and all of History, and it costs £139 for every single subject, so all 7 currently, that they do on MASSOLIT. Now, I appreciate that that is, a decent sum of money, and it may not be something that everybody can afford, even though I do really think it is great value for money. And I think that's probably where these school subscriptions might come into play. Although they are more expensive overall, those subscriptions will mean that you and all your classmates will be able to watch and access MASSOLIT content. So if this video has made you think, oh, you know what, I kind of fancy giving MASSOLIT a go, well, you know what, mention MASSOLIT to your English and history and philosophy, classics, psychology, sociology, politics, all your teachers in those subjects. Maybe if enough of you ask, they might be more persuaded to see if they can sort you and your classmates out with a school subscription to MASSOLIT. And teachers, if any of you are watching, I genuinely think that MASSOLIT is brilliant, and to be honest, I wish it was something I could have used with my own students back when I was teaching. So just how brilliant is MASSOLIT? Well, if I'm being totally honest with you, I think it is absolutely fantastic, and I really do recommend that you give it a go. Cheers.